Okay. So, Citizen Sleeper. Inzwischen auch mal geupdatet bei meiner Seite und Dings Storyzeug müsste, glaube ich, weitergehen. Oder halt Möglichkeit, dass es weitergeht. Ist da. Okay. Ja, mal gucken. Okay. Überhaupt mal gucken. Also ich würde schon ganz gerne zumindest dafür sorgen, dass Lem und Mina es fortschaffen von hier. Weiß jetzt nicht, ob das halt beinhaltet, dass ich auch mitgehe. Ja, schauen wir mal. Einen Tag noch. Okay. Naja. Nutzen wir den Tag. Schön. Okay. Gut, reicht. Genau. Okay, Saul finds you deep in the layers of the Pilgrim's Seed, working on a patch for a life support vent. You hear him coming, his suit hissing as he does. I'd ask around to find you, he smiles. Seems you know the place better than me these days. I doubt it. Saul nods. I was on the work crew that built this thing, so maybe you're right. He winks. Saul holds out a hand. Stand up and let me see you. He pulls you to your feet. I don't believe we ever had a sleeper on Ember's hearth. Saul looks you up and down. You sure do make me wish we had. Could have done with a few workers as good as you. Thank you. Saul nods. You're welcome. Seems like I owe you some answers. Seeing as you've been working hard on the Pilgrim's Seed these past cycles. Leans against the crate, his suit creaking. What do you want to know about? Hey. The flux. Those size. That's what I imagined. He scratches at his beard. I can't say I'm an expert, but I can tell you what we missed on Earth. Witnessed on Earth. At first we ignored it. A few farms had their automation systems blink out. Lifter suits locked up. Bots reset their schedules. Nothing we hadn't seen before. But then the news came out of Hazaro that they'd been hit harder. The local network had gone down and no one could get it back up. It was rough for a while, but out in the farmland we were used to that. Hazaro? Capital of Hearth. Tens of thousands of souls made it their home. Soul grimaces. Anyway, we thought the flux was a freak event until the day they got the network running again. That's when a cascade happened. System after system corrupted, data lost, and then another flux hit, and another. The bots were running circles in the fields. People had to be cut out of lifter suits like mine. In the city, I never saw it, but I heard from the others. So shivers. It only got worse from there. We couldn't seem to fight it. It cut us right open. That's what I know about the flux. Some folks say it came from the inner system, that it might be connected to some old tech there or something, but I never heard anything more than rumors. Saul scratches their beard. Sorry, I don't have better news. Saul shifts on the crate. Anything else you wanted to ask? There was something. So nuts. What do you want to know about? MS Hearth. Sure. He smiles. I mean, I spent my whole life on the rock, so I have plenty to tell. I saved my life story for another time. He winks. The short of it is that Hearth is the first of Ember's moons, the biggest and most populated, which is down to the successful terraforming systems Sibel set up back when Solheim owned the system. How are relations with the other moons? Sol smiles. Depends who you've been talking to. You shouldn't mistake me for a politician, Sleeper. That's for others to do. He gives you a look. But Amber's Step was a test ground for the terraforming tech that Hearth is built on, while Amber's Song was the extraction site for the raw materials and energy needed to make it work. You can imagine that might lead to some tension. Right. However, Sol holds up a hand. Despite what people might say, Hearth was never fully stable. Sol shakes his head. Sibel liked to talk it up, but after they pulled out and Solheim left, our people discovered they'd have to keep the systems running themselves, or the place would soon end up as dry as Step. Earth was good as long as the evaporators kept running, kept filling our skies with clouds. Even after collapse, our people kept those things going, turning that subsurface ocean into a periwinkle blue sky. So smart. Flux ended it though, and when they failed, the rains failed, and the harvest with it. Sol pauses. And soon, you have a city without a way to feed itself. Sol shudders. That's when we, some of us, made the decision to set out on this place. He gestures at the pilgrim seat, and look for another future. Yeah. What do you want to know about you? Sol squints at you. You want to know about me? I'm not sure that was part of the deal I was thinking of, Sleeper. Unless you're asking about this, he raps on the metal of his suit. In case you haven't guessed... Right. In case you haven't guessed, this is the only thing keeping me vertical. He adjusts a shoulder piece. It's a lifter suit, made for working the fields. We had to modify it so I could walk around after the accident. And that's all I'm saying, sleeper. Because, to be honest with you, I don't know you more than that. You wanna know about the flux, about Emberth Earth? Go ahead. But don't pry into my life, and I won't pry into yours. Okay. So let's the silent sit, staring hard at the floor. See what seems to loom over him, looking more like a burden than a support. With the bars around his head, you suddenly start to think of it as a cage. Look, I don't mean to be rude. Let's leave it there. There's too much eyes on me on this ship as it is, and I'd rather just slip into the background. Thank you very much. Saul shifts on the crate. Anything else you wanted to ask? There was something. So not. What do you want to know about? Something buzzes his old suit. He glances at it and frowns. Looks like time's up, sleeper. Saul stands, flexing against the suit. He takes his cane in his hand. Keep it up, sleeper. He smiles as he leaves. You're making me think I need to start making new plans for this place. With that, Saul leaves, and you wonder what he means. As he creaks away down the corridor, you can't help but feel there's more to him than it seems. Okay. Na gut, gehen wir schlafen und dann großer Tag. Für Lem und Mina. Und vielleicht mich, keine Ahnung. Ich würde ganz gerne hier bleiben, um halt die anderen Storys noch erleben zu können. Aber ja, vielleicht ist es wie bei dem anderen Ende, wo wir zurückspulen können sozusagen. There's a crowd, but you spot Lem and Mina immediately as you enter the dock. They are waiting at the cordon, where sellers, security are checking the crew in to board the ship. Those that manage to get up to the hub are crowded near the entrance, but even they know the chance of getting on board has long gone. Lem spots you among the crowd. Sleeper, we're here. They are standing beside a bag, which looks to carry all the possessions they have. It is small enough to be carried in one hand. Hi, Mina. Mina is vibrating with excitement. She seems strangely at home in microgravity. But then you remember that she has spent her whole life in space. Hi, robot. You hand over the seller's ID film to Lem, keeping your own. He turns it back and forth in the light. Where did your friend even get this picture, Sleeper? Looks like my old Conway idea. You look, and a shimmering, younger Lem stares out of the film, harder and clean cut. I spoke to the guard here. He nods to the white and green-clad security officer. They'll be doing orientation and role assignment on board. Sounds like we are going to be working under the core crew. Kind of like an intern. He laughs. What do you think, Meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? Following Lem's lead, you inspect your ID. As you lift the film up to the light, you see something strange. Something that makes you flinch. The face printed in the film is one you recognize immediately, but it is not you. At least, it is not how you look now. You squint at this ghost, confused why you hadn't noticed earlier. It is a picture you remember being taken, a memory that you didn't know you had. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. You remember the S&R employee who helped you in, a smile clean and surgical. You freeze in place, thinking of the you that still sleeps somewhere in an SNARP facility, that won't wake until you are recovered and disposed of. And now you're leaving. Will they ever wake up? Sleeper? Lem interrupts your thoughts. These guys want us to board. You stare at him without thinking, then notice the guard gesturing to you both to come forward. You all kick off and float over to them, steadying yourselves on the guardrail. You hang back, letting Lem present his ID film first. The guard slides it across a white machine, much like the one Castor printed them from. You reflexively rub the puncture mark on your hand, even though there's no trace of it now. It seems to be your destiny to be someone else's tool. Lem and Mina are waved through, the guard smiling at her excited face. Lem turns back to check you are coming. The guard beckons you closer. Probier's mal. You shake off your doubts and hand over your ID film. The guard barely looks at it as they pass it through the scanner and wave you through. A new life built from our old things. Ah. You okay? Lem asks, concerned as you catch up with them. You're so slow, robot, Mina teases, grabbing at you with small hands. Just making sure. Lem nods, and you realize how much harder it must have been for him to cross that threshold. Mina struggles in his arms, trying to get to you, and Lem relents, struggling with both the bag and his daughter. Mina tumbles through the microgravity and grabs onto your clothes for purchase, pulling herself into your arms. You all proceed up the walkway, the entrance to the docking bridge yawning wide in above you. Are we family, robot? Mina asks as you move, taking you by surprise. I guess so. Mina smiles and presses her head against your chest, pleased by your answer. You keep moving up into the docking bridge, then along the thin, glass-walled connector, all the time Mina clutching onto you. The lack of gravity means you can't feel her weight, only the grip of her small hands on your clothes. You both stare wide-eyed at the vast hull of the sidereal horizon and try to think of this huge machine as a home. Later, when you settle in your bunk, after Mina has finished running back and forth between you and Lem with an endless and infectious excitement, you find yourself looking at your ID film once more. Somehow, since the last time you looked at it, the image seems to have changed. It is still a picture of the old you, the person that signed up to have their consciousness copied and placed into the ownership of SNARP. But something else has crept into the image, an underlying sense of self-identification. This is also a picture of you now. The you that survived the eye, that made friends here, that found a way out, that escaped against all odds. The other you might never wake up, they might never live again, but so be it. They consigned you to a doomed life for their own gain. Their life is yours now, but you will live it better than they ever could. Lie back on your bunk as the thrusts of the sidereal's vast engines kick in. This feeling, this rumble, will be your constant companion for the next decades. It will be there when you work, when you watch Mina grow, when you dream of the planet at the end of the journey. It will stay with you when your body starts to fail, despite the best attempts of Lem and Mina as the years stack up, and it exceeds its safe operating period by a decade. It will be the thing you wake up to in those rare moments of consciousness, between which Mina will keep you in a frozen state in the hope of preserving you until your destination is reached. It will still be there when Mina wakes you, tears in her eyes, to tell you of Lem's inevitable death. It will not relent despite your desire for a moment of silence. It will be the final thing you hear, as Mina shuts down all but the most vital of all your functions, and hopes beyond hope that you make it to your final destination, all the while doubting that you will. But for now, in this moment of departure, it is still a new sound, a new feeling, and because of this, it is filled with the promise of the future. And so, you settle back on your bunk and close your eyes, and in moments you're sleeping a perfect, dreamless sleep, the most peaceful that you can ever remember. Nice. Okay. War das gerade Ende? Ja, war ein Ende. Das Ende, wo man mit Lem und Mina entkommen sind. Okay. So, jetzt müssen wir die beiden leider enttäuschen. Wait. Something stops you calling out to Lem. Maybe it's fear or nerves. Or just the need to take a little longer in this moment before your world changes once more. A decision was made, you reason, and there's no point in rethinking it again and again. All you can do is move forward in its shadow until so many cycles pass that you forget it was ever there. Lem spots you among the crowd. Okay. You ready? Lem smiles nervously. Well, I guess so. He hefts the bag. I hope they'll let us take this on board. Got our whole life in here. Canva. Intern. Picture. Okay, guard beckons you closer. Wait. You wait for a moment. You need to wait for a moment. This is all happening too fast, changing too much. There's so many questions you have, so many threads to catch hold of. And yet, here you are, boarding a ship to who knows where, on a journey that will take decades. Reconsider. Is this really what you want? How will you even survive? You suddenly feel dizzy, unsettled. You can make out the concerned look on Lem's face as you hold back. The guard gestures again. Mina's eyes, looking back at you, are so bright in the starlight. Stay on the eye. You can't do it. You can't get on that ship. You turn away quickly, trying not to look at Lem, look at Mina, to meet their eyes. You turn away and kick off hard from the guardrail. When you reach the far wall, you turn back. The scene continues in front of you as if nothing has changed. The next set of people are boarding. The crowds are still gathered at the corn. Sidereal horizon still blinks, its yellow hull bright against the stars. And there are Lem and Mina, gliding up towards the docking bridge, bag in hand. Lem is facing away, focused on the steady climb, but Mina is in his arms and is facing back towards you. You watch her face, confused, sullen, but twinkling with a growing excitement as Lem carries her forward. As you watch Mina, you think about your future, about the future you might choose. You know, one thing for certain, that future is on the eye. You no longer have any enthusiasm for being carried forward by the dreams of others, for grand futures that unfold like angelic wings across the horizon. The future is being made now, on this spinning rim among its people and its systems. You're sure of that. But as you watch Mina disappear into the entrance of the sidereal horizon, and much later when you watch the ship pull away, you feel a sense of longing. A longing to be carried. Not by the systems that spin the suns, or the corporations that run the colonies, but by love, towards an uncertain future, just as Mina was. That, you think, is the future you wish to make here on Erlen's Eye. No. Okay. Oh. Na, wie habe ich den nochmal gesprochen? Ich weiß gar nicht mehr. Strange choice. Caster stands beside you at the rail, watching the pinpricks of light from the sidereal horizons drives disappear. But perhaps not unexpected. You turn to look at Caster. You turn to look, and Caster is beaming at you with an unsettling warmth. Aren't you angry? About what? He squeezes your shoulder. I only wish for you to exercise that strong drive of yours. If it happens to align with my own, then that is pleasing to me. But if it does not, I cannot punish you. What about the cellars? Kessler looks out to the stars. I will do my best to follow its progress. He pauses. Cellar's foundation is of more concern. Sandra Celis has taken a step back from the public eye. It seems some internal struggles are playing out with their pristine halls. Kessler sighs. But I doubt core politics are of much concern to you. Kessler moves along down along the rail. The eye, though, that seems to be your primary concern, and am I right? I have unfinished business. He pats you on the back. Don't we all? It is the nature of life to leave things unfinished. I've more projects than I can count, so many games still to play and things to learn. May your future cycles be as fruitful as my own. Cass turns and starts to clunk away in his mag boots. I will be keeping an eye on you, if you don't mind, sleeper. He waves as he walks. My curiosity remains piqued. Once he leaves, you stay a little longer at the rail, watching the stars. Imagining the look on Mina's face when she sees Sellers 1 for the first time. Imagining the excitement when she first touches its soil. The joy when she first stands outside in the rain, laughing. Those images, though they will not happen for decades, are what will carry you through this cycle, and perhaps the next one too. Okay. Okay, dann machen wir weiter bei... Ja, machen wir bei den Flüchtlingen weiter. +1. Okay. The more you offload supplies into the docking bay, the more attention your efforts seem to be gaining. There's a loose crowd around the supplies you have unloaded, and a tense mood brewing among them. You sit nearby on the edge of the shuttle's docking tunnel, resting. Further away, crews from the Ember Song continue their lives as usual, coming and going, trading, discussing. There's a quiet efficiency to the hub, set up as a common space for the swarm of small ships from Ember Song that are part of Flotilla. Unlike Hearth or Steppe, there's no one capital ship for this moon's refugees, just a mass of individuals traveling in concert. We told Hearth we didn't want their scraps. The cheering voice comes out of the small crowd nearby. Okay. You turn to see a gaunt, pale man wearing the industrial work gear you have seen many of the Song refugees wearing. You hear me? These supplies are to help. He smirks. Oh, how noble of you. Coming out here to help us singers. There's a rumble of anger around the crowd. We agreed to join the flotilla to joint protection. We did not agree to ambush Hearth, using the flotilla to secure their control of the moons. You realize Peter is addressing the crowd as much as he's addressing you. With the cordon down, our crews are more than able to acquire what is needed from the Eye. What is owned as restitution for keeping us restrained. It pats one of the crates you unloaded. What we need, we will take. I have no stake in this. Then why are you delivering supplies for Hearth? Peter laughs. You need to check your alliances, sleeper. Peter looks around at the crowd. Hearth think they can buy us. But when you remember the past... A rumble of agreement runs through the crowd. He smiles at them. Take the supplies if you wish, of course. We are not wasteful. Peter approaches you directly. The crowd tentatively moves forward, and by the time he reaches you, they are already dragging away crates and distributing the contents. I'm not one for shooting the messenger, sleeper, says Peter as he approaches. But we cannot concede to Hearth here, not for a moment. Leave me out of it. You already put yourself in the middle of it, sleeper. Don't you see that? Peter sits beside you on the docking tunnel slip. What was your plan, sleeper? Unload the supplies and wait for someone to start throwing them back at you. He nods at the crowd rifling through the crates. Because that's what was about to happen. Not sure about that. Peter shrugs. What do you think happened to the crew of this shuttle? He shakes his head. They were chased out of this place. Why do they hate Hearth? We, Peter says with emphasis. Do not hate Hearth. We simply do not trust them. Do you know anything about Ember's moons, sleeper? Or were you planning to wander into this flotilla totally blind? An objective outsider offering help. He rolls his eyes. Educate me then. He smiles. It would be my pleasure. I'm going to assume you know the basics. The gas giant Ember has 7 moons. The 3 biggest Ember Steppe, Ember Song, and Ember's Heart. He winks. We can cover the 4 sisters next session. Steppe was the first to be settled. A contract old Solheim gave to the terraformers Zibel Systems when they first claimed the Helion system. That's way back when. Steppe was a testing ground, and like most testing grounds, it didn't turn out too well. A partial atmosphere slowly sloughing off each orbit. A dysfunctional ecosystem and a whole load of dust-clogged settlers. The place is a miserable desert, long past its best before date. So Sibel moved to Hearth, where they redoubled their efforts. The subsurface ocean and some balmy tidal heating helped. Balmy tidal heating. Allowing them to build a real atmosphere, a real habitable world. A fact that the typical Hearth colonist won't ever let you forget. How did Sibel achieve such a thing, you might wonder? Well, that's where we come in. It's that same old rule of surrogacy, the one humanity built our universe around. Peter claps a hand to his chest in mock pride. My moon, Ember Song, is a sulfur-soaked rock covered in volcanoes, tidally heated by its inner orbit to sweltering temperatures. Exactly the kind of crucible you need to fuel a terraforming project. Energy, industry, fuel. Song provided the raw materials for Hearth. Peter grimaces, willingly or not. And a crucible requires people to run it. As singers, born into a flaming pit and asked to stoke it so others might live in a paradise in the making. That's what we had to endure until Solheim brought everything down. Peter rattles off his speech from memory, and you wonder how many times he has delivered it. No Solheim, no contract. No contract, no Sibel, and no Sibel meant 3 moons suddenly independent. Peter shakes his head. It was a war sleeper. Sometimes hot, sometimes cold, and unsurprisingly Hearth and Steppe came out of it better than us. Yet, Peter holds up a hand. They need us, Sleeper. Always have. And so we are the linchpin. We are the center around which the moon's orbit, not swirling ember. We've resisted takeovers, sieges, and expansions, and now we resist this. Half the people on these ships think the flux was caused by Hearths, intentionally or otherwise. And I have to say, some cycles I agree. So before you come here to hand out supplies like a good soldier, maybe educate yourself. What does that matter now? Peter shakes his head. Do you forgive crimes against yourself so easily, Sleeper? Would you return to the bosom of SNR if they sent someone to collect? Peter stares at the crowd. Don't presume to judge us. I want you to imagine what it is like to try to live on an airless, volcanic rock when every system that sustains you starts shutting down. He spits and wipes his sleeve across his mouth. We abandoned nothing. Some stayed, some left, but we will reclaim Ember as soon as the flux fades or ends. We've weathered before. Huh. Don't you need the supplies? As I said, we will take what we need when we need it. Peter stares out into the axis. There is no authority that we recognize here. I won't keep you from the docking access, Sleeper. No one here has the authority for that. But watch yourself here. Try to remember that the Eye is just another in the long list of people who have tried to control us. I understand. Peter nods. Then let it guide your actions. Morgen Frühschicht, 4:30 aufstehen. Eieiei. Jo, kein Problem. Dann Nacht Ritzer. Und ja, viel Spaß morgen. Peter sighs. Look, we are many, and we have many needs. Ships come to the docking axis for repairs, for requisitions, for friendship. You can provide these as well as any singer. If you want to help in your own name, Sleeper, not in that of Hearth. Peter shakes his head. Carry that name here and you will lose all trust. Be as we are. Act in your own name alone. Peter puts a hand on your shoulder and stands. I hope I didn't just waste my time here, Sleeper. And with that, he walks away, back to the shrinking crowd that is distributing the last of the supplies amongst the crews present. You watch them pass, the food and water between them. No signs of conflict between the crews, just a careful distribution of resources. Peter chats with a few crews, each of them casting looks in your direction, ones that reveal little about the singer's intentions. You stand. It seems the tensions on the flotilla run much deeper than you expected. This won't be easy. Okay. Boy. Access supply. Spitter says singers will only trust you if you act independently of Hearth. Bring supply requests is a good start. Grove spores and ship mind core. Okay. Ah, okay. Abrocken. Ne, der eine geht, der andere kommt. Okay. So. Den schlafen gehen. Naja, wenn er um 4:30 Uhr aufstehen muss, kann ich das schon verstehen. So. Okay, Leute, da habt ihr euren Shipmind. Was auch immer ihr damit anfangen wollt. Und hier eure Sporen. As across the axis, looking for a shuttle to take you back to the ruined cordon, you spot Peter standing at the edge of the central hub. Something about the way he is leaning against the rail, looking down across the axis and towards the blinking lights of the flotilla beyond, makes you pause. He's completely still, his head drooping low and his shoulders hunched high. Leave him be. You watch for a moment more and then move off across the hub, towards a promising-looking shuttle dock. Peter didn't look like he wanted to be disturbed, but as you climb through the docking tunnel towards the departing ship, you can't help but glance back. You spot him there, still at the railing, so small in the cavernous chamber of the hub. He seems untouched by the motion around him, lost in memory or thought. You feel a cold shiver rising from inside and slip out through the docking tunnel before it can touch you. Gotta keep moving. Oh, okay, cool. Schön. Freut mich, dass das Spiel meine Entscheidung respektiert, nicht mit dem reden zu wollen. Auch wenn ich mir vorstellen könnte, dass wenn ich Gespräch mit ihm angefangen hätte, möglicherweise einfach nur gekommen wäre, lass mich in Ruhe. Access assistance, more work you do for the singers, the more you get to know the crews, the more they will trust you. Nice. Ach, Moment, bei der einen gibt's doch auch noch was. Ja, genau, zu denen wollte ich gerade. Sleeper, long time. Moritz is smiling at you when you leave, clearly happy to see you again. Moritz, good to see you. Same, same. He rubs his hands on his jacket. How you been? Working hard? Not bad. He grins. But you're always welcome to hang at the bay if you want. He glances around. Actually, that's what I'm here about. I know Bliss said she didn't want to take any more big jobs, but she's changed her mind or something. He grins. Because now we have someone looking for a refit of their ship in our bay. You will not believe it. They want their entire ship disarmed. Cutting out defense arrays, weapon lockers, ship-to-ship countermeasures, the whole lot. He leans in. We'll be able to start an arms dealership with all the hardware we'll have up there when we are done. He laughs. Anyway, it's a massive job and we need some hands. Bliss said to go get you. So, come on up. Bliss is waiting on you to accept the job. He pauses. It'll be good to have you up there again. He grins. Like old times. Okay. Vorher schnell was essen. Nom nom nom. When he entered the bay, it is weirdly quiet. Moritz must be out on some errand, and maybe Bliss is prepping the kid. Ankita? What? Sleeper. Ankita is drifting at one side of the bay. You missed her completely when you came in. The idea of not seeing Ankita when he entered the room would have seemed unlikely to you several cycles ago. But seeing her without her armor, she seems smaller, less imposing. Ankita? She nods and kicks off from the wall, drifting closer. So what is this? She asks. Come to avenge Ashton or a sleeper? Just looking for another payout. Her anger is familiar, but quieter than before, restrained. I don't want to fight. Then why are you here? She looks away, and you can tell her anger isn't directed at you in particular. It radiates off her like fire. You better be ready to sign, comes a shout from the bay entrance. Because I've got my best repair tech coming up here especially, and they are going to... Bliss glides in and suddenly stops herself when she sees you and Ankita standing off. Oh, Sleeper, you're already here. Miss Cassetta, this is the tech I was telling you about. Best on the... She stops, looking between the two of you. Wait, do you two know each other? You and Ankita look at each other. We work together. Bliss squints at you both before continuing. Bliss produces a slate. Now, Miss Cassetta, if you'd like to sign our damage waiver here, we can start on the decommissioning. She looks at you. My tech here is eager to get started, as am I. Ankita scrawls her signature across the slate. Thank you, Bliss pauses. And everything is okay with the special payment terms we discussed? She gives Ankita a strange smile. Oh, fine, says Ankita, giving you another hard look. Then she kicks off and drifts to the entrance. I'll be in the gimbal, she says, and leaves. Special payment terms? She looks over her glasses at you. Look, Sleeper, there's something I have to tell you. She glances around again. What is she so nervous about? This isn't exactly a typical job. Miss Cassetta, Ankita, she gives you a knowing look. Doesn't have the chits to pay us, so we've made a special agreement. She sighs. I'm leaving. You're joining a mercenary crew? Don't make me laugh. Ankita's an ex-merc. Why do you think she's getting us to remove all her ship's armaments? Amber. The ship is called Amber. Bliss gives you a funny look. There's some deep history here, huh? She holds up a hand to stop you answering. Look, all I care is that she's heading for the steward belt. She looks out of the bay. That's where I'm headed. She turns back to face you. Also, I wanted to ask... She stops. Sure. If you'd like to come with us. I can't... She interrupts before you answer. I know things have been hard for you on the eye, and you helped me so much. I asked Ankita if she'd carry two of us, and she said yes. Moritz will take over the bay anyway, although if you stay, you're welcome to help him run it. I just thought... She sighs. You might be in need of a fresh start as much as I am. She turns away nervously. Think about it anyway. The berth is there. We've got to finish the job first anyway. And with that, she kicks away and heads to the wrecks, before you can offer an answer. Moments later, Moritz enters with a new cutting torch for the disarming of the ambergris. The starboard belt, meine ich. Push your thoughts to the back of your mind. Time to get to work. Okay. Mhm. Okay, kümmern wir uns halt erstmal darum. Tada, alles an einem Tag geschafft. Bam. Emma looks better than she ever has before. Bliss has done an incredible job of cleaning up the hull, and despite the exterior changes being limited, she has the impression of being lighter, somehow sleeker than before. Moritz drifts by. He has been loading up the final equipment onto Amber. It turns out Nkita will be taking her weapons, but packed and ready to sell at the first starboard belt port she hits. But now that Moritz is done, he seems in a kind of daze, flirting back and forth aimlessly. You okay, Moritz? What is that? He turns. Alright, yeah. Packed and stacked. He smiles a weak smile. Was hoping Miss Cassetta would let me keep a warhead. For what? He shrugs. I don't know. Just might be a cool thing to have around. Hey, Sleeper. He looks down. Did you know Bliss was leaving? You understand now, she told him. That's why he's like this. I did. He nods distractedly. She said this place is mine. He looks up around the bay like it is suddenly some vast space he doesn't know what to do with. Can you manage it? He looks down at you, a glazed look on his face. I don't know. I just don't know. A dark look suddenly crosses his face. Hey, Sleeper. Something Bliss said. He meets your eye. Are you going too? Before you can answer, Nkita glides into the bay, a massive crate on her shoulder. Sleeper, you coming or what? Bliss is already on board. She stops by the terminal, holding herself in place. Moritz looks at her with a dazed expression. You look at Nkita. She's keeping it together now. She's packed all those bad feelings down someplace where you'll never see them and built a tough foundation on top. She may not be a mercenary anymore, but you imagine most people would think twice before trying to cross her. Well, she looks at you. I'm not eager to spend another moment of my time on this station, unless I have to. She pauses, looking between you and Moritz. She says, I'll give you a minute. And she kicks off with the crate, taking it to the end of the bay, where the Amber sits docked. You look back at Moritz. I'm staying. Moritz looks like he might pass out. Sleeper, are you sure? Are you doing this for me? No, I'm staying for me. Moritz nods. Alright then, you're staying. He grins. Nkita comes back across the bay, the final crate stowed. You're staying then, Sleeper? There's right. She nods. Well, okay then. One less mouth to feed. She pauses. Look, Sleeper, I'm not going to go back or over everything that happened. She sighs. I'm trying to put that beat behind me, but I hope you find what you're looking for here. She smiles and kicks off, gliding to the ambergris and the starboard belt beyond. You both watch in silence as Amber's drives fire up. I guess this is our place now, says Moritz, the weight of everything suddenly hitting him. Your place, he smiles. Okay, but I'll need some help from time to time. Both stay for a while to watch Amber, and Bliss and Nkita leave. And then Moritz goes to the Rex to finally implement a new organizational system, and you head out, promising to be back to check on things soon. As you glide around the soft curve of the hub, you catch glimpses of the distant stars flickering through the windows. They are beautiful, it's true, but by now you think of them as a distraction. In a time on the eye, you've realized there's nothing out there waiting for you. No fresh starts and no bright futures. Just a whole load of problems you haven't found yet. No, your place is here, among the people you know and the problems you know. Wishing Keita and Bliss the best of luck out in the belt, but as you do, you focus on the eye, on the vast spinning rim that rotates around its hub, on its buildings and flashing lights, on its people and places. This is your home, and, for now, it contains all the futures you need. Und schon wieder ein Ende. Ei. Okay. Bleibt eigentlich dann nur noch das Dingens mit den Yatagan-Leuten. Und das andere beide ist das Bonus-Zeug. Kommen wir ja so langsam, also zumindest langsam zum Ende vom Grundspiel. Weiß jetzt nicht, wie viel von den, ich nenne es einfach mal DLC-Sachen. Wie lange das ist noch? Also, next round is yours. Moritz arrives at the table with a couple of steel drink canisters, typical of the hub's only bar, the Gimbal Lounge. He settles onto the webbing beside the table and clunks them down onto the magnetic table. This place, you have decided, is ridiculous. A rapidly spinning, cavernous sphere that Gimbal's weak gravity, just like the gravity at the ice rim, is created by its gut-wrenching rotation. The interior surface of the sphere is the Gimbal's floor, which descends towards the equator, where one long bar loops around the entire circumference. Tumbling out from the central ring are an array of booths and seating arrangements equipped with all kinds of harnesses and webbing to keep customers in place. Da gehen Leute absichtlich rein, um was zu trinken? Ey. The harnesses are there because the gimbal doesn't quite spin up fast enough, and you watch as the clientele bounce towards the bar in lazy arcs, or shift from table to table with graceful leaps. Well, what are you thinking? Asks Moritz, noticing you staring out into the gimbal. How weird this place is. Moritz glances around, as if for the first time. Yeah, Bliss never used to like coming here. Moritz takes a drink and stretches. So, Sleeper, you sticking around? If you'll help me. Moritz nods. Of course, I'm going to need help in the bay. Moritz rubs the back of his head. One cycle at a time, but so we'll take it. Nice and easy. You're unsure if he's talking to himself or you. We'll make it. He lifts his drink for a toast. To the next cycle, he pronounces and knocks it back. Later, when you finally leave the gimbal, Moritz is still laughing. You help him out of the spinning gimbal and back into the hub, sending him on his way home to the bay. Then you pause for a moment to watch the stars as they spin and spin around the eye. You smile to yourself and think of Bliss and Ankita out there somewhere among those points of light. To the next cycle. Okay, und hier kann ich arbeiten. Ja. Is taking on low-scale repair contracts now. From now, Moritz is happy to offload some of the work to you. Okay, cool. Jo. Würde ich fast sagen, konzentriere ich mich, glaube ich, dann nächstes Mal erstmal auf die Storyline noch. Und wenn ich mit der fertig bin, dann erstmal Richtung DLC. Da weitermachen. Na, Rätsel ist noch da. Nee, ist nicht. Okay. Jetzt. Also, dann machen wir dann nächstes Mal erstmal die Grundstorylines. Ups. Grundstorylines. Fertig.